my mental health is so much better than it's been in any other lockdown. This journal has really changed the way that I do things in general. Assalamu alaikum everyone, hello, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, a very big welcome. So if you cannot tell by the title, today's video is going to be looking at the goals of 2020. You guys who've been here for a while, who've followed me throughout the journey of this last crazy year, especially, you'll remember that I did a video last year around this time. That's here, and it says 2020, set goals with me and how to actually achieve them. Manifest your dreams. So I made this video, and obviously none of us knew what 2020 would throw at us. Okay, so we all had a different 2020 to what we'd expected, and I thought it'd be quite an interesting concept to sort of go back over the video and go through my goals, look at how far I actually got with them, if I achieved them, if I didn't, and then talk to you guys a little bit about this. This is my 2021 diary. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have already seen it. I did a big story breakthrough on there, a breakdown about this diary, about why I love it, and honestly about how this is the reason why this January 2021 has been the best, most productive, most growth filling January I've ever had, Alhamdulillah. And that's actually kind of crazy to me because we are in lockdown 3 and a lot of people are really struggling more with this lockdown than ever before, but for some reason, Alhamdulillah, I feel the opposite. I actually feel like this is the best lockdown for me so far, and I think this has got a big part to do with it. So let's go through this video now. I am going to be playing back my video. Hopefully the audio is okay. If it's not, I'll just cut it out and I'll just tell you the goals. So I split my goals last year into 3 sections, and the first one was personal, and the first thing I wrote was health and fitness. Okay, so I'll just skip forward to where I can see my 3 goals. The first one was cut down on fizzy drinks, the second one was stick to my Fitbit, and the third one was the night training club app. So first of all, I said in this video that I wrote cut down on fizzy drinks, and I think I also said switch from full fat to Pepsi Max only, or like diet drinks only. Now, I know that neither of them are particularly good for you, but as someone who drank a lot of fizzy drinks in 2019, that was like my first year of marriage, I just felt like I got into quite a bad habit of just drinking. I mean, I was drinking fizzy drinks before I got married too, but especially like after you got married, we were going out to eat a lot more, we were having a lot more takeaways. So I can happily say, ding, I ticked that one off. I totally did cut down on fizzy drinks in 2020, and we pretty much exclusively drank Pepsi Max or Iron Extra. I mean, don't get me wrong, occasionally we'll have like a full fat kind of drink, but I don't enjoy it as much as I would enjoy an extra. And yeah, in general, I would say, especially since January this year anyway, I have been drinking more water. So the second one is stick to my Fitbit. I love my Fitbit. I've made so many videos about my Fitbit, which I will leave a link down below. And honestly and truly, I can happily say that I have stopped my Fitbit, and unfortunately at one point it stopped working, and I managed to get through to customer services and they sent me out a new one, and that time where I didn't have it, I really struggled without it. So I really do love my Fitbit. Now, do I do my targeted steps every single day, especially when I'm in the house and it's quarantine? No. But did I get a lot more active, thinking more carefully about what's in my body in 2020? Yes, absolutely. So again, I would say tick to that one as well. The third one, night training club, didn't do. I liked it at first, but you know what, I found it quite monotonous and quite repetitive. I would say definitely check it out. It's a free app, and it's really good because it's a very clear workout. Like, they do it alongside you and you're doing workouts. But do you know what I realised for myself personally, if I'm working at home, I prefer either something very challenging like the Chloe Ting challenges that she has so many different challenges, and I just like the push of like, oh, doing the challenge and following along with her. Or I like to do like dance workouts, HIIT and things like that, which have a little bit more high energy. I found the night training club was not as high energy as I'd liked. However, I really do think 2020 was the year where I started taking my fitness a lot more seriously, and because I had more time to do so. Start of 2020 especially was when I wasn't employed, and then when I was employed part-time, so I still had more time to really look after myself whilst having this work-life balance, which was lovely. And yes, we had the pandemic, yes, we had so many uncertainties, yes, I had a lot of stressful times as well, don't get me wrong, but overall as a year I feel like it's the first year that I've really prioritized my health and fitness in my life. So I didn't stick to night training club, but I did kind of consistently stick to working out, and I've got fitness videos on my channel if you're interested, so again I'll leave those below. But yeah, my weight does go up and down a little bit here and there. I would like ideally to be a size 10 and not a size 12, but basically what I'm trying to say is that I feel like my health and fitness goals for 2020 were pretty much met, alhamdulillah. Let's move on to the next section. Okay, interesting. So I wrote that one of my goals within the personal section for 2020 was sticking to a schedule, and that's always something I found quite difficult, although I've always known that it's something that would work for me. Towards the end of 2020 maybe I started sticking to more of a schedule, but that's something I'm still working on to this day. So to be completely transparent and honest here, I'd say I have not stuck to my schedule, unfortunately. Alright, and then the final section within relationships was number 1, to have a weekly date night with Iqra, and number 2, to text and call friends and family once a week. So the first one, I would say that I would say 50-50 on this. The weeks that we were doing this and prioritizing each other, and at least some time for each other, obviously our marriage was on a high. But overall, like I've said so many times in so many videos, like we did struggle through lockdown, to be honest. So I don't know if I would really stuck to every week strictly making time for us. We definitely did try, but I wouldn't say that that was necessarily met. And then the second one, makes me a bit sad because I've got the same sort of goal here, but I guess in a way this is a goal that can't necessarily be met because it's something you want to keep. It's more like a routine or a habit, but it's like checking in on extended family, which I do struggle to do, because honestly these days I struggle to even reply to my closest family and my friends, which I know there's not really an excuse for it because we spend so much time on our phones, but I just feel like there's so much going on within my phone space. You know, I've got Iqra photography, I've got blushing giraffe. It's just very easy to forget. So that's actually a goal that I know for a fact has been continued. Now I had the personal section. The next section was money/jobs. So interestingly, the first thing that I spoke about was my teaching career. The 3 things I'd written down for 2020 was number 1, get my GTCS and all the relevant documents. Tick, I got that done, alhamdulillah. This was obviously filmed in January and I got that done, and then I applied for a job straight away, and I wrote down my preferred school, and alhamdulillah I got a job there, which was amazing. Number 2, obtain an excellent job in the UAE. Well, that obviously didn't happen, did it? The pandemic was, I would say the pandemic was a big reason why we didn't, but at the same time I just feel like the opportunities for a married woman to go to Dubai with a decent salary as a teacher have become very, very thin, in my opinion. There's definitely more opportunities if you're single, so girl or boy, whoever you are watching this, if you are single, if you're not married, you know, and you see a good opportunity, I would say go for it, take it. This was obviously such a strong goal of ours because we really thought that we would have gone to Dubai in the summer of 2019, and then if not, then the very beginning of 2020, and neither times it happened. And I've spoken about this with like various family members, and we've always said like alhamdulillah, it's been such a blessing that it didn't happen, because if we were quarantined in Dubai, where by the way they were way stricter and took it way more seriously and did such a better job at doing this whole lockdown thing than the UK, but if we were under those conditions, I think that could have been the make and break of our marriage. Obviously if that was written for us, we would have gone for it regardless of what the outcome would have been, right? But alhamdulillah, like we had so many more comforts here at home. We were close to our families. Although I've not been able to see my family and friends as much as I want to obviously this year, the fact that I've been able to see them is a massive blessing in itself. And I know there's some people here who, you know, have moved here to get married to someone and they're from like Canada or America or Pakistan, and they've not been able to go to their families for a whole year. So as much as like I miss my family, I'm like, there's people who have it way worse kind of things. That obviously was not met, but what is it the end of the world? I don't think so, honestly. Like my views have very strongly changed about Dubai, and it's crazy because like at one point that was like the main thing we wanted, but I feel like because we were stuck in a limbo between like waiting to go to Dubai, and then obviously like, we were living with my in-laws and we were just waiting, and I was applying and applying and applying. It was very, very, very hard time, and I couldn't work as a teacher here at the time because I didn't have my GTCS. That was just such a horrible time. And then like I've mentioned this before, like Waqar was having issues with one of his businesses, so it was a lot that had all come to a head at once. It was a very, very hard time, but alhamdulillah we got through that, and you know, everything happens for a reason, and we learned so much from those experiences. And now if you were to ask me like if a really good opportunity came up for Dubai next week with a very decent salary that's comparable to one I'm on right now, and you know, furnished accommodation in a nice area for Waqar and I, we would take it. Yes, absolutely we would. But the truth of the matter is there's just not those opportunities floating about. Like I still do sometimes look now and again, but I'll be honest, like my search for Dubai has kind of ended, and it's like if it's meant to be, it'll be, but at the same time I'm kind of focusing on what I've got here and now. And then my final one was tutoring. You guys, I tried so hard for a solid month to start online tutoring, and I just really struggled. I could not figure out how to get a decent hourly rate for my ability to tutor. And it's crazy because like I've been tutoring since I was 17. My first ever job before I became a teacher was being a tutor. And you know, tutoring kind of comes very naturally to me. Working one-to-one or in small groups comes very naturally, but I find it really hard, and it was just annoying as well because all the like videos on how to earn extra money in 2020 and side hustles and all this stuff, they all mention tutoring and how easy it is to tutor online. No, it was not easy for me anyway. So that was definitely a fail as well. So overall, within my teaching career section, only one of the things was achieved. But alhamdulillah, that one thing that was achieved, the GTCS, was the reason why I was then able to you know, earn a decent salary. And also I feel like I'm so proud now to be able to say alhamdulillah, I've actually been able to go through the coronavirus pandemic being a key worker. You know, we teachers have been key workers, and that's me playing my part for society in one of the most craziest times that we'll ever experience in our lifetime. So I'm very grateful that I got my GCSEs at the time. I'm very grateful I got my job just before lockdown, because if I'd been looking after that, it would have been pretty much near impossible. I think eventually I would have been able to, but you know, the fact that I've been employed since March 2020, genuinely like that complete financial independence and freedom as well. Not that Waqar would not, you know, provide for me. Alhamdulillah, he's always provided for me, but just, you guys will know what I mean if you've got jobs of your own. Just having your own money that you've earned in your own bank account, there's nothing like that feeling, in my opinion. So yeah, alhamdulillah, since then I've been very content and very happy, and it's been such a good experience to teach here. It's been very different to my previous experience, which I will touch on in future videos. So then my next category within the earnings was Iqra photography, which, if you don't know, I have a small photography business here in Dundee, and it was basically born out of a need because there's no female photographers that are Asian in Dundee. As far as I know anyway, there's none. And I ended up photographing 2 events for like families for a favour. I did one dolki and I did one mendi, and then I photographed a friend's wedding as well. And then I thought, you know what, like by the time I'd done the first dolki, like, and the photos came out nice and everyone really liked them and I'd edited them in Lightroom and stuff, I was like, this might not be a bad idea to like do as a business. And then I was doubting myself, but then I spoke about it with my sister-in-laws and my husband, and they were like, yeah, why not, like there's a need here, and you're really good at it and you're passionate about it, so let's just have a look at what the goals were. The first one was book 7 paid clients between now and July. And the second one was shadow an experienced photographer and try and be a second shooter. So I'm just going to quickly see, was there a third one? No, there was not. So that's so interesting. So I thought that between January to July I could book 7 paid clients. What I will say about that is that obviously back in January this time last year we had no idea what was about to hit us, and we had no idea that we'd be in quarantine, in some sort of lockdown for quite a while. So obviously that seems like ridiculous now looking back, but at the time I think it was a fairly realistic number. And in terms of how many clients I had in 2020, I had one client in 2020 and 2 events from this one client, but I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And since that one client, and since I've just literally this weekend that's gone, finished editing her wedding pictures, I've sent them over. I took 900, well, I took way more than 900 pictures, but ended up with 900 photos that I poured so much energy and effort into with editing process, as well as just being the wedding photographer. I mean, I could do a whole video on this, so I won't go on for too long because this video is going to be quite a long one. But yeah, I was really proud to have done that event, to be trusted with someone's wedding. And the best thing is, her reaction when she got to see the pictures was just priceless. Like, to be a special part of someone's life, and like the dua she was giving me and the testimony she's written me, like, I could not be happier. So Alhamdulillah, although I did not reach 7 clients, I had a total of 0 clients between January to July. I'm very pleased with the fact that I managed to get any work that's to do with photography as a brand new photographer, you know, in 2020. And I genuinely believe that 2021 is going to be better, inshallah. And then the second one about shadowing, well, it's really funny because I still to this day will say to anyone who comes to me about wedding photography, I don't feel comfortable shooting a whole wedding by myself. And you know, if you've got no other choice, then you can book me, and I am obviously going to be cheaper than an experienced photographer based on my equipment, based on my lack of experience, based on the fact that it's just me, you know, there's no backup photographer there. So I am going to be charging less, but at the same time, those are the factors that are going into my prices. And yeah, I've obviously not had a chance to shadow any photographers in this time. To be honest with you, I wasn't really looking to do so. I kind of put Iqra photography to the side. I deactivated or put my website onto the free mode because it just was costing too much, considering how I hadn't been paid at that point at all. And then yeah, I just haven't had the opportunity to, and it's crazy to me that I've actually managed to shoot a wedding without even being a proper second shooter. I mean, for my friend's wedding, they had a photographer and then I was a second shooter as well. So kind of, but then that wasn't like an official second shooter, and I didn't get to talk to the photographer that much, you know, and get advice and tips. And that was kind of my idea behind being a second photographer. But yeah, I didn't achieve either of the photography goals, but I'm still, alhamdulillah, very happy about how it's gone. Considering we're in a global pandemic, like, that's so much better than I could have expected in March that year, for example. So the next one for money is the blush and giraffe, and this is where I definitely was the most confident and the most overconfident. I would say it's probably the most like cringe-worthy to watch back, to be honest with you, but I'll just read through the 3 goals here. Number 1, become a brand ambassador. Number 2, make a decent amount of money from the blush and giraffe. And number 3, get to 20k subscribers by the end of 2020. Let's start from the end this time rather than the first one. I guess my idea of setting such a high goal, when at that time I was on 3,000 subscribers, is that I strongly felt like if I had a high goal in mind, well, if I didn't reach that, at least I'd reach close to that. And look, I didn't get to even halfway there, which is, it's a little bit frustrating, it's a little bit annoying, because I pour hours and hours of time into this, and I have to keep reminding myself all the time that, you know, where you are today is so much further than where you were 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. So just keep going, and you know, if this is meant to be a proper side hustle for you, it will be, but it's not going to be if you just give up. So you have to keep going, you know. If you only dream average goals, you're not even going to get to average places, you know, you're not going to get very far at all. Whereas if you have very big goals, you know, your mindset's going to be so much more bigger, passionate, inspiring than someone who just has average goals, and then you're going to get to some sort of place where you want to be. That's just my theory. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. Number 2, make a decent amount of money from the blush and giraffe. Now, I have had my first paid sponsorship this year. I have been a consistent member of the Good Molecules PR family, which is amazing, and I have, alhamdulillah, become affiliate for Skin to Soul, which is a skincare brand. So in many ways I feel like I've taken big steps towards making a decent income from this side of the internet. My AdSense has also increased as well, so I'm now getting paid a little bit more regularly than I was before. I'm still not getting paid monthly though, so if you know anything about AdSense, you'll know that I'm not making tons of money. But at the same time, like, again, if I just solidly focus on my channel and myself and my statistics, I'm still getting paid some money from something that I have so much passion for and something that I really enjoy, and that is a blessing. Like Instagram, let's be honest here, Instagram do not pay anyone themselves to create content. YouTube do not need to do that, so it's a blessing to be able to be at this place where I am. And who knows, this time next year I might be on double the subscribers, I might not, who knows. All I can do is keep going, keep trying to be consistent and keep trying to work hard. Yeah, I wouldn't say I've met the decent amount, but I've definitely made more money than I was making last year, and I'm hopeful again for 2021. And the reason why I was so hopeful about making a decent amount of money was because I walked into 2021 with a manager, and honestly guys, it was the biggest scam ever. Like, the guy was pathetic. He was a Muslim guy, and he got together like a bunch of different content creators, like some who are like on 5k like myself and some who are like on 40-50k, and he had this really professional looking management agency set up, and then he just went ghostly quiet. Like, he went completely quiet after like setting it all up, putting our names on there, putting our faces on the Instagram page, asking us to send over our stats and everything. He just flopped, and I remember emailing him, not getting a response, emailing him again, not getting a response, and then eventually he replied like, yeah, it's fallen through, can't do anything about it, and that's it. So I remember having so many hopes in this manager role and thinking that because of this manager I might become a brand ambassador, because of this manager I will be able to have more opportunities. Like, I think that could be a key to being able to have like the middleman between like a content creator and a brand, in order to make more money, because everyone knows that you're going to make more money from brand deals and paid sponsorships than you are from AdSense, especially if you're a smaller blogger. So I had all these hopes on this guy, and in reality, nothing came of it, and that was one of the most disappointing things of 2020. But I'll talk about how I've moved on from that a little bit later on in this video, because I am aware that it's a long one. But again, those were things that weren't achieved, and listen, it is what it is, okay? It is what it is. Like, I strongly believe as a Muslim that what's meant to be is meant to be. I am exactly where I need to be right now, and I'm just going to keep working hard, keep trying to improve myself as a person in general, keep trying to be consistent on here. And if I'm meant to see success, more success from this channel, because I shouldn't say success, because like, Alhamdulillah, 5.55k people have hit the subscribe button. Like, when you compare yourself to other people, it's so easy to become disheartened and become disappointed. But then when you really deep that 5,550 plus people have pressed subscribe, like, I can't even imagine that number of people in front of me. That's insane, and that is an achievement, even though when you think about everyone who's got 70k and 100k and all these massive numbers, like, it feels minuscule, but really that is still a win, and I need to keep reminding myself of that as well. Let me take a breath. Okay, and then the final section of my plans were spiritual, so I'll just quickly go through these. 5 times salah daily no matter what, Quran 5 times a week, and go on Umrah inshallah. Well, let's start from the end again. Obviously going on Umrah it wasn't going to happen unless it happened in the first 2 months, which wasn't written for us. I'm praying that 2021 is the year that things start to get back to normal again, and if not, 2022 if we're still around for that, inshallah. The first 2 goals are still goals that I'm working on consistently. I feel like with a fluctuating iman, those things unfortunately like sometimes are going to be things you have to keep working on, and I feel like this year I've got a better way of working on them, but I still need to really fight my nafs and make sure that I'm putting in dedicated time for reading my salahs on time and reading Quran. So those were my goals for 2020, and I am exhausted and this video is going to be quite long, but you guys already know that once you click on it, right? So overall, you know what, when I thought back to like when I first looked at that video, I was like, well, that's a video that didn't age well at all. However, when I really think about it, like Alhamdulillah, like the health and fitness side, it was one of my best years for that. Even though I feel like my weight was fluctuating, I feel like my understanding of what my body needs, and also getting such an endorphin rush from working out alongside my sister-in-laws, going for runs, doing home workouts myself, you know, doing all these things. Like, it's the first time I've really made time and started enjoying it. So inshallah, like that was, you know, that's a win, and inshallah that's something I can carry on. Spiritually, I feel like I need to keep going with that, and I feel like I've got off to a good start, but definitely there is always room for improvement. And then in terms of money, like Alhamdulillah, I feel although I didn't achieve the things written on either of those things for my teaching career, for my blush and draft, or for my photography, I still have progress in those areas. So I'm not going to be hard on myself and think, wow, like a whole year's passed and like you couldn't reach those goals. If I hadn't written them down in the first place, I probably wouldn't have improvement on them at all. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I personally find goal setting is really, really effective. So this year I treated myself to this diary, and it's by a small brand. They're not like, you know, sold everywhere in shops, so they're just an online brand, and it's called the Inspired Stories Team. Now I got a diary from them back in 2017 or 2017 I think, and I really liked it, but it is about £40, which is quite expensive for a diary, I'm sure you'll agree. However, I have used this journal almost every single day, if not at least 6 days a week in this month so far, which already shows me that if I can start off a year on this, you know, great positive habit of using this journal, then it's going to be worth every single penny I paid. And what I love about this is it's just so perfectly written and set out. So you've got a section for the 2020 review. I really liked, because I was writing this sort of towards the end of 2020, and it was just a nice way to not look at the whole year as, oh my goodness, we've just been through a global pandemic and everything went wrong. But it says like, write down your special moments, your big and small achievements, and it really made me think about some of the things that really actually alhamdulillah went well for me, and that I possibly might have taken for granted at the time, but then when I think back to it, it's like, wow, all of these blessings that Allah has showered upon you, like you should be so grateful. So I'm just gonna quickly run through some of them. So like the first thing I wrote down was like getting my job after 6 months of unemployment. Like this is the first time in my adult life that I had gone through 6 months of not working, and at first, like the first 2 months, I loved it. I was like, wow, I'm like a free woman, blah 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 blah. But I soon grew to resent it. I soon like got fed up. I soon started seeing versions of myself I just didn't like. And you know what? Another win is that I got a part-time job this year, and alhamdulillah, it's such a win and such a blessing that we can afford for me to be working part-time. Alhamdulillah, like such a blessing. I can't even explain that. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always provide and will always find a way out for you if you have true faith. And we did. And now my part-time job, I feel like I really have the best of both worlds. I get to make a difference, I get to be a key worker, I get to teach children, I get to plan lessons, I get to have a life outside of the house. But it's for the perfect amount of time for me. 3 days a week is absolutely perfect, because it gives me 4 days for the rest of the week to focus on our little place, to focus on my relationships, to focus on my fitness, to focus on my side hustles and everything like that. So many wins in that sense. And then another thing is, you know, I grew closer with my sister-in-law. Like I said, we were quarantined together and it was so great. I learned to cook a lot better, and I had confidence in my cooking. You know, I started a proper fitness routine, and I feel like alhamdulillah our marriage came to a strong and peaceful place after going through a very rocky time in 2020, and even 2019 there was parts which were just horrendous. So alhamdulillah, that's a big blessing. And then there's another section here, it's like write down your biggest life and work lessons in 2020, and then what habits, skills or actions helped you to reach your goals, and what habits will you stick to in 2021. So I just love how it's not like the typical planner where it's like write down your goals. They really ask the right questions to make you think about how your last year went and what you did for the bits that went well to happen, and then how you can continue for that to happen. I just think it's just so smart. And then they've got here, and I love this, like the story of 2021, and you write down how you envisage 2021 to come out with. And I've still got a paragraph here to write if I choose to come back to it, but yeah, I just love the start of this journal. This is the goal section in this journal. So what I just adore about this is that they've set it out in a really practical and clear way, and it's just so, it feels so achievable. So at the top it says, this year I will, and it says write down your goals for 2021 and the steps to reach them. There's 4 sections. I had 3 last year, which I came up with, you know, off my own accord, but this year I've got 3: personal, health and fitness, working, career and relationships. And it's funny because it's kind of very similar to what I had last year, but I put relationships under the personal umbrella, whereas they've separated that. So I'm just going to very quickly go through my 2021 goals. I hope you guys are sticking with me. I know this is a longer video, but obviously if you're here, you're probably wanting to, you know, find out a bit more about goals. Maybe you're thinking, I've not really set any goals, but I want to, and you're not too late at all. So for my personal ones, it's to develop a proper relationship with the Quran, and under that, under each goal it's got steps to reach it and 3 different points. So I've put stick to a schedule, Quran journal, and, you know, focus on a little bit on my Instagram page. I've got a Quran journaling page, and make dua for this specifically, because I feel like when you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help specifically, like that help's given, the dua will be answered. My second personal one is to journal often, because I rediscovered journaling, and I don't mean like planning, I mean like just writing out your thoughts. I rediscovered it at the end of 2020, and I realised how much I missed it. I used to always have a diary as a kid, and it was always like a place where I could just pour everything out, and when I finished writing down whatever it was that was on my mind, I felt like a big load had been lifted from my mind. So for me, journaling really helped. And then a third one is to, again with the salah, consistently stick to it, and 5 times and on time. And then the 4th one is to set and stick to a routine. So again, very similar to last year, you know, regularly review and update the schedule that you're creating for yourself. Take time to plan daily and be realistic, and set time limits, and eat the frog, which is a phrase that we really learned in our training year when we were teaching. And it's that if you eat the frog, it's like you do the task that you're least looking forward to first thing, and that's it, it's done, it's out of the way, and then you can kind of get on with the less difficult, tedious, mundane or frustrating tasks on your to-do list. So that's my personal goals. Not too different from last year. Like 2 of them are spiritually focused, and then 1 of them is sort of mental health focused. I definitely think journaling is so beneficial for my mental health, and then also I feel like sticking to a routine is really beneficial for my mental health as well. Then work and career, again, I've literally copied that out again, but the brushing draft into a proper side hustle / make some proper decent money from it, and then Iqra photography, work on that. I'm not going to go over those again, but those are my 2 goals for work and career. I've not written anything about Dubai because that's not a goal for me this year. Like I said, if it happens, it happens, but if it doesn't, khalas, I'm happy with it not happening. I'm so settled and content where I am now, alhamdulillah. The next one is health and fitness. So for this one, I've written specifically I want to work out / go on runs and jogs 4 times a week. I want to try my hardest to get as close as possible to a flat tummy, and just drinking water, which is probably the most like repeated goal or New Year's resolution everyone writes. But yeah, it's just, you know, when you're hydrated, you're just a better person, your brain works better, your skin looks better, you're less bloated, all the rest of it. So yeah, water is great. And then finally, the last 2 relationships, they haven't changed too much. Stay in contact again. One of them is to call my Amiji weekly, that's my grandma, and then just message and check in with extended family, and also reply to all messages every day. That's one thing I'm pretty bad at, is replying to messages from friends and family. So this year I want to make a conscious effort to do so. And then again, quality time with Iqra. Although this time around, this year, I've not written, you know, plan a weekly date night, but I just put a set intentional time daily without our phones, and just keep learning and researching. I feel like marriage can be such hard work at times, and there's so much information out there, there's so many interesting lectures and talks and seminars and books, and there's so much to learn about it, and then to improve and self-reflect, and for him as well to do. So yeah, I just want to keep working on it really, because like I said in my a little bit earlier on in this video, like I'm happy that we've come to the place we have, alhamdulillah, and I want us to stay in this happy place for as long as possible, and I know that's going to take hard work. So those are my goals for this year. Now the reason why I feel like this journal has really changed the way that I do things in general is the way it's laid out is for you to succeed. So you've got a January plan at the start with 4 main goals for January, and again the steps to reach it. Every single week you've got a space to write this week's intention, you've got 3 top priorities, and you've got, I think it's about 8 or 10 important to-dos for that week. And then here you've got a box for habit and exercise tracking, and then something you're looking forward to. So again, you could 100% replicate a similar setup to this in your bullet journal if that's something you're into. I did try my hand at bullet journaling at one point a couple of years ago, but I just don't have passion to sit and draw out a layout for myself every week. I'm not that artistic, so this really helps for me. Got 5 to-dos for the day, and then at the end here is best thing about today. So what I really liked about this is that on the side I've just got a rough like things I need to do for that day. So for example, on Monday the 28th of December it was to do a food shop, to finish editing my own pictures, to film my PMD video, and to film my iSort fast haul. And then on the actual lines bit here at the end of that Monday I wrote a little bit about the day, and then I wrote the best thing about the day. I cooked handi and naan for the first time and it turned out pretty good. So it's just a nice positive way to end each day, and then you can write down what you've got to do the next day. But what I love about the fact that each week has got its own page beforehand is that you can go back and check your important to-dos and make sure you're planning in for them. I've realised I'm that kind of person. I have to write it down. If I do not write it down, it does not work. It doesn't happen. I just feel like because I'm writing things down, because I'm keeping track of what I'm doing, because I am, you know, really assessing all the different areas of my life and making sure as much as possible I'm getting things done, my mental health is so much better than it's been in any other lockdown. I feel more in control of my time, I feel more productive, I feel happier. I've been able to just get so much more done, and I just love that daily positivity. Best thing about today, even if you've had a rubbish day, it forces you to think like, okay, most of today was rubbish, I was only on 3 hours of sleep today, however this little moment here, I'm gonna write that down, and then it makes you feel grateful that alhamdulillah, like even though you felt like it was a bad day, you still had a pretty good day overall. So I don't know, it's just really changed the way I see things. And then towards the end of every week there's another page on the back and it's got weekly reflections. Absolutely love this, guys. I can't express how much I adore this. So you've got happy moments, challenging moments, gratitude, and what you learned from the challenging moments. And then there's a box here for a little journaling question each week. You know, it kind of keeps me accountable for all these things that I want to do. And yeah, I just feel like this has made me a happier, more productive, more balanced person in the long run. And then something else that's completely got my January off to a great start is another video that's going to be up this week hopefully, and it is all about this cleaning routine that I'm following. And I can't explain to you how much happiness I have got from a cleaning routine, and it's so simple and it's just so effective. So yeah, I think that's enough talking from me. I have been talking for a very long time. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you found it useful, inspirational, if you enjoyed me talking about some of my L's and some of my W's, alhamdulillah, then definitely give it a thumbs up and leave down below some of your goals for this year, or maybe some things that went well for you or didn't go so well for you in 2020. Let's have a conversation as usual in the comments, and yeah, I'll see you very soon in my next video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Bye.